The ultimatum. The quantum arrays circling Jupiter pulsed with ethereal light as director Elena Santos watched the latest transmission from the galactic hegemony. Her dark eyes narrowed as the holographic message played, showing High Chancellor Vexthor's scaled face sneering with contempt. Your species' recent breakthrough in quantum consciousness technology is concerning, the alien leader declared. Such power cannot be trusted to a civilization barely 3 centuries into space travel. You will surrender all research and prototypes within 1 standard solar cycle or face immediate sanctions. Elena's hand clenched into a fist as she turned to her advisory council. The assembled leaders of Earth's united government sat in tense silence around the circular chamber deep beneath the Martian capital of New Alexandria. Admiral Chen, his cybernetic enhancements gleaming under the soft light, was the first to speak. "They fear us," he stated simply. "After centuries of treating humanity as their wayward children, we've achieved something their scientists claimed was impossible. Merging human consciousness with quantum systems opens possibilities they can't comprehend." Dr. Samira Patel, head of the Consciousness Transfer Program, nodded in agreement. "Our breakthrough wasn't just technological, it was philosophical. We succeeded because we approached the problem differently. Where they saw consciousness as something to be preserved, we saw it as something to be expanded." Elena walked to the chamber's viewing window, gazing out at the sprawling dome-covered city below. Humanity had transformed Mars from a barren wasteland to a thriving metropolis in just 50 years. Now that hegemony wanted to halt their progress, to force them back into comfortable mediocrity. "How ready is the Lazarus Protocol?" she asked without turning around. Admiral Chen's cybernetic eye whirred as he accessed secure files. "The lunar facilities can be converted to full military production within weeks. The Jupiter shipyards are already at 60% capacity. If we begin now, we could have a fleet ready before the hegemony realizes what we're doing. They'll be watching for military buildup," cautioned Security Director Jackson. "Their monitoring stations throughout the solar system track every ship movement." Dr. Patel smiled, her dark features lighting up with scientific pride. "Not if we use the quantum consciousness tech itself to hide our preparations. We've already proven we can mask quantum signatures by merging human minds with our stealth systems. They won't see anything we don't want them to see." Elena turned back to face her council, decision made. "Then we give them exactly what they expect, a show of humble compliance. Publicly, we'll surrender our research and accept their restrictions. Privately, we'll show them why underestimating humanity was their greatest mistake." The next month saw a flurry of activity across the solar system, carefully hidden behind a facade of submission. In public ceremonies, Earth's leaders handed over carefully edited versions of their quantum consciousness research to hegemony observers. In secret lunar bases and asteroid facilities, production of a new kind of warship accelerated. These weren't conventional vessels, but something entirely new, ships designed to merge completely with their human pilots through quantum consciousness transfer. Where traditional ships required crews of hundreds, these needed only a single pilot, their merged consciousness able to control every system simultaneously with thought alone. The hegemony's observers reported back to their superiors with smug satisfaction. The humans had been appropriately cowed, accepting their proper place in the galactic hierarchy. They failed to notice the determination burning in human eyes, or the subtle changes happening throughout the solar system. Their arrogance had blinded them to humanity's greatest strength, the ability to turn limitations into opportunities. Project Phoenix. Deep beneath Europa's icy surface, Commander Maya Patil floated in the neural interface chamber, her consciousness expanding beyond the confines of her physical form. Through quantum entanglement, her mind merged with the experimental warship waiting in the massive underwater dock below. She wasn't just controlling the vessel, she was becoming it. "Neural sync at 97% and holding steady," reported Dr. Marcus Wong, watching the holographic readings with intense focus. "Quantum coherence is perfect across all systems. How does it feel, Maya?" Maya's response came simultaneously through the chamber speakers and the ship's communication array. It's incredible. I can feel every system, every weapon, every shield generator. The ship isn't just responding to my commands. It's becoming an extension of my consciousness. In the observation room above, Elena Santos and Admiral Chen watched the test with carefully controlled excitement. This was the 70th successful consciousness transfer, each one pushing the boundaries of what they'd thought possible. The hegemony had demanded they surrender this technology, believing humans too primitive to handle it. Instead, humanity had refined it into something far more powerful than their alien overlords had imagined. "Show me the battle simulation results," Elena commanded. The air filled with holographic displays showing hundreds of combat scenarios. In every simulation, a single consciousness-merged ship outperformed entire conventional fleets. The neural interface allowed reaction times measured in microseconds, with every system responding in perfect coordination. The hegemony's automated defense networks won't stand a chance, Admiral Chen noted, his cybernetic eye analyzing the data. Their entire military doctrine is based on overwhelming force and numerical superiority. They've never encountered anything like this. Maya's ship rose from the underwater dock, its biomechanical hull rippling like liquid metal. Unlike traditional warships, these vessels were partly grown rather than purely constructed, their living metal responding to their pilots' thoughts. In the neural interface chamber, Maya directed the ship through a series of maneuvers that should have been impossible, moving with an organic grace that defied conventional physics. "What's the status of the other facilities?" Elena asked, turning to her tactical display. "The Titan shipyards are at full production," Chen reported. "Mars underground facilities are training pilots faster than expected. Turns out the psychological profile we need is more common among humans than we anticipated. People who can handle the consciousness merge without losing themselves." Dr. Wong looked up from his console. "It's because we evolved as social creatures, able to maintain our individual identity while connecting with others. The hegemony races are all hierarchical, territorial. They can't conceive of consciousness as something that can be shared while remaining distinct." The next few months saw continued acceleration of Project Phoenix, as it had been dubbed. Throughout the solar system, carefully hidden facilities produced more biomechanical warships, while training pilots in the art of consciousness merger. Each ship was unique, adapting its growth to match its pilots' neural patterns. The hegemony's observers remained oblivious, their attention focused on the surface. They monitored space traffic, watching for traditional military buildup. They never thought to look for ships that could mask their quantum signatures or pilots whose consciousness had expanded beyond normal spacetime. 6 months after the hegemony's ultimatum, humanity was ready. 300 consciousness-merged ships waited in hidden docks throughout the solar system. Their pilots, now as much quantum beings as physical ones, had mastered abilities that the hegemony scientists had declared impossible. In her office on Mars, Elena received the final readiness report. "The hegemony's deadline for their inspection of our compliance is in 3 days," she noted to Admiral Chen. "Their delegation will arrive expecting to find a chastened humanity, ready to accept permanent restrictions on our development." Chen's organic eye gleamed with anticipation. "Instead, they'll trigger the greatest revolution in military history. The attack plans are set. We can hit 50 of their key military installations simultaneously. By the time they realize what's happening, their command and control infrastructure will be chaos." Elena stood at her window, watching the Martian sunset paint the dome-covered city in shades of red and gold. "They demanded we give up the power to expand human consciousness," she said softly. "Instead, we've used it to redefine what humanity can become. After tomorrow, the galaxy will never be the same." First strike. The hegemony delegation arrived with typical pomp and ceremony, their massive carrier dropping out of hyperspace near Mars orbit. High Chancellor Vexthor stood on his ship's command deck, scaled features arranged in an expression of smug satisfaction as he prepared to oversee humanity's submission. "Scanning the system now," Excellence, reported his chief sensor officer. No signs of military buildup. Human traffic patterns appear normal, mostly civilian transport and mining vessels. Vexthor's secondary hearts pulsed with pleasure. As expected, these primitives may have stumbled upon quantum consciousness technology, but they lack the will to defy their betters. Today, we ensure they remain in their proper place. The delegation's ship began its approach to Mars, escorted by 4 hegemony battlecruisers. None of their sophisticated sensors detected anything unusual about the quantum fluctuations rippling through space around them. None of their tactical officers recognized the significance of the subtle changes in background radiation. In her neural interface chamber beneath Europa, Maya Patel existed simultaneously in multiple states, her physical body floating in quantum suspension, while her consciousness extended through her ship and the battle network linking all 300 vessels of humanity's ghost fleet. All ships report ready. She communicated instantly through the quantum link. Battle coordination protocols engage, waiting for final authorization. Elena Santos stood in the command center beneath Mars, watching the hegemony ships approach on holographic displays. Admiral Chen's cybernetic systems were linked directly to the battle network, giving him real-time awareness of every aspect of the coming operation. Authorization granted. Elena transmitted. Show them what humanity has become. The attack began with impossible silence. 300 consciousness-merged ships materialized simultaneously throughout hegemony space, their quantum-masked signatures finally revealing themselves. Before the aliens' automated defense systems could even register the threat, the ghost fleet struck. Maya's ship emerged from quantum space directly above the hegemony carrier. Her consciousness expanded through every weapon system, every shield generator, every point of attack. The biomechanical vessel moved with liquid grace, its living metal rippling as it unleashed precisely targeted strikes. The hegemony battlecruisers exploded in perfect synchronization, their quantum cores destabilized by weapons they couldn't even detect. On the carrier's command deck, Vexthor watched in horror as hostile ships appeared throughout his tactical display. Ships that moved in ways his military doctrine claimed impossible. Impossible, he roared, his scales shifting to fear purple. Their technology was primitive. We monitored everything. Multiple quantum signatures detected, screamed his sensor officer. They're everywhere. Our defensive screens are. The officer never finished his sentence. Maya's consciousness-guided weapons pierced the carrier's shields as if they didn't exist, targeting critical systems with microsecond precision. The massive ship's quantum core went dark, leaving it dead in space. Throughout hegemony space, the scene repeated itself. Consciousness-merged ships struck key military installations, communication hubs, and command centers. The aliens' defensive networks, designed to counter traditional threats, prove useless against vessels guided by expanded human consciousness. In a secure bunker on their capital world, the Hegemony High Council watched in disbelief as reports flooded in. 50 of their most heavily defended systems had been hit simultaneously. Their supposedly impregnable quantum defense grid had failed completely. How? Demanded Council Elder Zixtal, their ceremonial robes quivering. How could they have hidden such a fleet, such technology? The answer came in a transmission broadcast across all hegemony frequencies. Elena Santos' image appeared before them, her expression stern but composed. You demanded we surrender the power to expand human consciousness, she stated. You claimed we were too primitive to handle such technology responsibly. Instead, we have transcended your limited understanding of what consciousness can become. The transmission showed footage of the Ghost Fleet in action, ships moving with impossible precision, their biomechanical hulls adapting in real time, their consciousness-merged pilots exercising abilities that defied conventional physics. This is not a war for territory or resources, Elena continued. This is humanity demonstrating that we will never again accept artificial limitations on our potential. Your era of patronizing dominance is over. As her words echoed across hegemony space, The Ghost Fleet continued its precision strikes. Centuries of alien military doctrine crumbled before humanity's quantum revolution. The species they had dismissed as primitives had transformed their consciousness technology into something that redefined the very nature of warfare. The counter. The hegemony's response to humanity's devastating first strike came with all the subtlety of a dying star. Their massive reserve fleets emerged from hyperspace throughout human-controlled space, thousands of ships strong. High Commander Krulvor, newly appointed after Vexthor's capture, had ordered every available vessel to crush the upstart species. Let them witness true power, Krulvor declared from his command fortress on Centauri Prime. These consciousness-merged ships are impressive, but they cannot stand against our numbers. We will darken their skies with our fleet. In the neural interface chamber aboard her ship, Maya Patel smiled. Through the quantum battle network, she sensed the positions of every hegemony vessel. More importantly, she felt the perfect coordination of humanity's ghost fleet, 300 ships moving as one yet maintaining their individual initiative. They still don't understand, she communicated to the battle network. They think this is about numbers. The hegemony fleet approached Earth in textbook formation, their ships arranged in overlapping defensive patterns developed over millennia of warfare. Their sensors probed for humanity's ghost fleet, expecting to find them gathered for a defensive stand. Instead, they found nothing. No ships, no defensive positions, no sign of the vessels that had wreaked such havoc through their territory. Multiple quantum fluctuations detected, announced a hegemony sensor operator. They're trying to. Space itself seemed to twist as humanity's ghost fleet emerged, not in formation, but scattered throughout the hegemony fleet. The consciousness-merged ships moved through enemy formations like sharks, through schools of fish, their biomechanical hulls rippling as they unleashed precisely targeted attacks. Maya's vessel danced through space, her expanded consciousness directing every movement with perfect precision. Traditional ships, even with AI assistance, needed seconds to process tactical information and react. Her neural interface allowed her to respond in microseconds, each action flowing naturally from thought to reality. The hegemony's numerical advantage meant nothing when they couldn't effectively target their opponents. The Ghost Fleet's quantum masking technology, combined with their consciousness-merged pilots' enhanced abilities, made them nearly impossible to track. Their biomechanical hulls adapted to enemy fire, learning and evolving in real time. Impossible. Krulvor raged as reports of devastating losses poured in. No technology can. His words were cut short as Elena Santos' image appeared on every display in his command center. You still don't grasp what you're facing, she stated calmly. This isn't about technology alone. We've merged human consciousness with quantum systems in ways your rigid thinking cannot comprehend. Throughout space, the battle continued to demonstrate her words. Hegemony ships found their quantum cores disabled by attacks they couldn't detect. Their communications were severed by interference they couldn't trace. Their mighty fleet, pride of their civilization, was being dismantled by an enemy they couldn't effectively fight. In a secret facility beneath Europa's ice, Dr. Marcus Wong monitored the neural patterns of the Ghost Fleet's pilots. Their consciousness synchronization is actually improving during combat, he reported to Admiral Chen. The neural networks are adapting, evolving. They're becoming something entirely new. Chen's cybernetic eye whirred as he processed tactical data. The hegemony's entire military doctrine is based on overwhelming force and rigid hierarchy. They've never encountered an enemy that could think and react as a unified whole while maintaining individual initiative. The battle lasted less than 6 hours. When it ended, the mighty hegemony fleet had been reduced to scattered remnants, their survivors fleeing back to their own space. But humanity's victory had revealed something even more significant than military superiority. The consciousness merging is opening new possibilities we never imagined, Dr. Wong explained to Elena in a secure quantum conference. Our pilots aren't just controlling ships, they're expanding the very nature of human consciousness. The technology the hegemony feared is becoming something far beyond their comprehension. Elena nodded, watching displays showing the aftermath of the battle. They wanted to prevent us from growing beyond their control, she said softly. Instead, they forced us to transcend their limited understanding of what consciousness can become. As debris from the hegemony fleet drifted through space, humanity stood on the brink of a transformation that would reshape not just the galaxy, but the very definition of what it meant to be human. New Dawn, the great hall of the hegemony High Council, which had stood unchanged for 10,000 years, now hosted an unprecedented gathering. Representatives from every spacefaring species sat in the tiered chambers, their attention focused on the human delegation standing at the center. Elena Santos stood calmly before them, her presence commanding despite being physically smaller than most of the alien representatives. Through quantum links, she could sense Maya and the other consciousness-merged pilots maintaining their vigilant watch throughout nearby space. The hegemony's unconditional surrender has been recorded, Elena stated, her voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber. But we are not here to impose the same kind of dominance that was forced upon us. We are here to offer a new path forward. Holographic displays activated throughout the chamber, showing the remarkable developments that had emerged from humanity's quantum consciousness technology. Not just the military applications that had won the war, but the profound breakthroughs in science, medicine, and understanding of the universe itself. When you demanded we surrender this technology, Elena continued, you claimed we were too primitive to handle its power responsibly. You never considered that our supposed primitiveness, our adaptability, our creativity, our willingness to think beyond established limits, was exactly what allowed us to develop it properly. Dr. Wong stepped forward, his neural interface subtly glowing as he accessed the quantum network. The consciousness-merging technology has evolved far beyond its original applications. We've discovered ways to expand neural networks across vast distances, allowing minds to connect and collaborate while maintaining their individual identity. The assembled alien representatives stirred uneasily. The idea of shared consciousness went against everything their hierarchical societies were built upon. Yet they couldn't deny the results displayed before them. Breakthrough after breakthrough achieved through humanity's new approach to consciousness and cooperation. We are not here to rule, Elena assured them, but to share. The quantum consciousness technology, properly developed, offers possibilities that could transform all our civilizations, not by erasing our differences, but by allowing us to truly understand and learn from each other. In orbit above the hegemony capital, Maya floated in her neural interface chamber, her consciousness extended through her ship and the quantum network. Through it, she could sense the subtle shifts in the gathered aliens' emotional states, fear giving way to cautious curiosity, rigid resistance softening into consideration of new possibilities. The war proved that humanity could not be contained by artificial limitations, Elena continued. But its true legacy will not be military dominance. It will be the opening of new frontiers of consciousness and cooperation. Over the following months, the galaxy began to transform. Under humanity's guidance, quantum consciousness technology was carefully shared with other species. Those who could adapt to it discovered possibilities they had never imagined. Those who couldn't still benefited from its applications in science, medicine, and exploration. The hegemony's rigid hierarchy gave way to a more flexible alliance of civilizations. Humanity's example showed that true strength came not from imposing limitations, but from embracing the potential for growth and change. 1 year after the war's end, Elena stood in the observation dome of the new Galactic Cooperation Center on Mars. Through its quantum-enhanced windows, she could see ships from a dozen different species moving through space, their crews learning to navigate both the physical and consciousness dimensions of the transformed galaxy. They're finally beginning to understand, Maya said, her consciousness simultaneously present in her ship above and through the quantum network. The technology they feared has become the foundation for something greater than any single species could have achieved alone. Admiral Chen, his cybernetic systems, now fully integrated with the quantum network, nodded in agreement. They thought they were protecting the galaxy by limiting us. Instead, their attempt to hold us back forced us to break through to the next stage of evolution, not just for humanity, but for all sentient life. Dr. Wang's latest research results floated in holographic displays around them, showing how the quantum consciousness technology was continuing to evolve in unexpected ways. Every species that adopts it brings new perspectives, new possibilities. We're not just sharing technology. We're creating a new form of civilization. Elena smiled, watching the steady stream of ships arriving from across the galaxy, each bringing representatives eager to explore the new frontier of consciousness humanity had opened. The hegemony had tried to force humanity to accept limitations, to stay within comfortable boundaries of development. Instead, they had triggered a transformation that went far beyond technology or military power. Humanity had not just proven itself equal to the galaxy's eldest civilizations, it had shown them a new way to grow, to learn, to evolve. The age of artificial limitations was over. The age of infinite possibility had begun.